Good afternoon and welcome back to another video. Since I got the Lexus back in 2020, the back speaker has been giving me issues. I'm in the rear passenger side door, if you couldn't tell. It's sounded crackly a little bit and everything, and now it's just completely fuzzed up. So my guess is that it's blown out. I wanted to replace it since I found a good deal on some speakers. I'll show you those in a second. And I figured that I'd give a crack at doing that since I know how to get the back door panel off. Now I have some of my tools piled for the job here. Let me show you what I got for the back door. In here are some speaker mounts just to go into the door and actually be able to mount the speaker on. So I'm going to set those aside on top of my socket set. Here are the actual speakers. I got MTX Terminator 5s, I believe. They were something like 45, 50 bucks, so not too bad for a pair of speakers for the rear door. The reviews were great on them, and I looked up some separate reviews, and they were also fantastic. So I decided for 50 bucks, you can't really go wrong. And then I have the wiring harness. Now I bought this all from crutchfield.com, which is a site that I'd heard of but never actually purchased anything for. I only paid for the speakers. With it, they threw in the speaker mounts for free and the wiring harness for free. So definitely appreciative of that. And then I have on my iPad over here my instructions. It comes with instructions for how to actually remove the door panel. You can see that it's got it for every single panel and radio feature inside of here. It's got the actual speaker manual, the wiring harness manual, and then the actual speaker adapter bracket, which is nice to have. So I'm going to be referencing those. I'll show you that in a second, and then I will get to popping off the door. Now we are working with the rear door speakers here. According to that, we're going to need a Phillips head screwdriver, a flathead screwdriver, and then a little panel removal tool. So it's nice inside of the removal section, actual master sheet it says with the Lexus GX470, tells you what tools you'll need. And then if you go over to the speaker adapter brackets, it'll tell you that you need a Phillips screwdriver bit and a drill with a 1/8 inch bit in it. So I'm going to make sure that I have all of those and then get going. Now in order to get the door panel off, there are 3 Phillips head screws that you have to remove, but they are all hidden. I'll show you where they are now. First one is right behind this little panel right here on the door, so I'm going to wedge my flathead screwdriver in. If you have a trim removal tool, I recommend to use that because this could break off the tabs and then wouldn't be as good, but I got it last time like this. I'm going to see if I can do it again. There you go, slow and steady. So let me pop that out. You can see screw number 1 right there. Now screw number 2 is underneath of this right here. Just gonna pop out the ashtray real quick. Set that aside. I apologize that my car's a mess. I really need to clean that, but I'm gonna pop this out. And you can see screw number 2 right there. Now before I take out this window switch, I have to unplug this wiring harness right here. It's just got a little push tab right on this side right here. So I'm just going to push that in and then remove it. I needed both hands to do that, so I can't record that. Now once that is removed, it's just going to look like this. You'll see the other screw, like I said, that you have to remove. So you have 1 and 2. And then number 3 is just right underneath it here. Now this one's probably the easiest to remove. Just grab back here, pry up, and it pops off. And there you go. Screw number 3. 1, 2, 3. Now that I have those 3 screws out, I don't want to lose them. So I'm going to put them inside my ashtray and close it up. Set it aside so that it stays in a secure place. Now this is the point where if you have a trim removal or pry tool or something like that, it's helpful to have. However, I don't. I just have my handy dandy fingers. So if you reach down here, reach on the sides, you can kind of feel a little bit of a groove or indentation right about where my middle finger is. That's where I like to start popping down there. It's kind of hard to do it without both hands, one hand on the door and one hand on the panel. But I like to start pulling around down here and actually prying them out piece by piece. And the panels eventually start to pop up. There's a bit of a groove in here too, so that's another good spot to pull. But there's little rivets that go all along the side. You just pop them out by hand. And then once you do that, you can actually remove the door panel. And just like that, you can see it swings loose now. It's pretty easy. Now the door has a bit of a lip that holds it onto the actual metal framing behind it. So if you grab the handle, you can kind of lift it. Use my knee a bit for some extra support. You can see it's bending a little bit. You might have to bend it out, wiggle it around a bit. But eventually it does pop up like that. And then over here like this. At which point you still have your door handle connections. So in order to get that, I'm going to remove my door handle and lock connections. There's my door. The lock's a bit finicky. Oh, there you go. And now, once I get these little wiring harnesses removed, there's 1, then there's number 2 for the light here, and then number 2 there. And now, completely disconnected from everything. Now on to working on the speaker. I'm going to start by disconnecting the old speaker. Pretty simple. There you go. It was a little bit stuck in there, but you just got to push that tab down pretty hard. Now I'm actually going to remove the old speaker now. You can see one screw on the bottom and then two on the top. I'm going to get on that. There you go. Out with the old. I'm also going to put those screws in with my other ones inside the ashtray. And now I'm going to pop open my new speakers because I haven't even seen what they look like yet. So here's what was inside the box. Got this little baggie right here. Looks like it has some wires and little clips inside of it. Pop her open. There we go. Here's the actual speaker itself. When this mount is installed, it's oriented like this. Because of that, I don't need this, and I don't need this. So I'm going to break them off. I'm going to gently break them off just so it doesn't break anything more, but they do get in the way of the door panel going back on. Now that I have the mount up, I'm going to start putting on the actual speaker, but before I put on the actual speaker, I want to feed the wires to this slot up here since this is going to be inaccessible with an actual speaker in there, so I'll show you what to do there. I'm just going to take the harness that I got, and I'm going to feed them through one by one just so that they both fit. There's white in, there's black in, and then I'll just pull it through, and then I'll get the actual speaker and show you where to clip it there. Now with your speakers, you have a black wire and a white wire. Black is negative, white is positive. When you move down to the speaker, you have two little terminals to clip onto. Sorry, it's not focusing. There you go. You have your positive, which you can see the red wire going to with the little resistor it looks like there. And then you can see your black one, which is a little smaller terminal. You just slide them both onto there, and then it's good to go. Now that I have the wires fed through the back and running out the top, they're not plugged in yet. You can see that I have my speaker lined up on the actual mount itself. You can see that it lines up with these four holes right here, these four little slots in the speaker bracket. Because of that, I don't actually need to do any drilling, which is going to be really nice because I didn't want to have to drill anything. So I'm going to screw those in and then I'll show you how I did it. Now I've only put in one screw so far. I still have 3 more to go, but it's pretty simple. You can see they give you the little bag of screws and clips, black screws and clips in my case, in the box that came with the speakers for mounting them. So they just screw straight into the plastic, and it's simple as that. Just screw them back like you would any other Phillips head screw. Alright, the new speaker is in and mounted. I have my wiring harness here, my new wiring harness here. I'm just going to plug them into one another, and then I'll go give it an audio check. Alright, I have it all wired up now. Unfortunately, I can't really show you guys this part, but I'm going to give it an audio test. I don't want any copyright strikes or anything, so yeah. I'll go listen and see how much better it sounds. Alright, after giving it a little test with some 50 Cent, some Led Zeppelin, some Eagles, a little bit of everything, it's sounding pretty good, so I like it. It's sounding a lot better than it did before. No more rattling, no more scratchy noises, so I'm going to get to putting the door panel back on, and then I'll get on the other side, which I'll probably just do a time lapse for, since, I just showed you how to do this side, and the other side's going to be exactly the same, so here goes nothing. Now, before I put it on, I'd also like to mention that the speaker does come with these little cover mounts, it looks like. So the screws go through there and then hold this in on top of everything else. So that's how those fit on. From what I'm reading, it's kind of a matter of preference if you want these or not. I'm just going to go without them just so it fits cleaner in the door. And just going to go with that since the speakers already have a mesh grill on the outside that covers them up. Now I'm going to get to putting the door panel back on. I'm going to get all the connections done first. Remember that you have to do this wiring connection. And you have to do this wiring connection. They just plug in. You'll hear a little click and then you know it's secured. You have your lock up here. You have your door down here. You're just going to want to hook those on. I'm going to put down the camera to do that because it's really hard to do it with 2 hands. It's really not hard at all, but when you have 1 hand available, it's much more difficult. So I'm just going to get that hooked back on this lip up here. I'm going to swing it down and then get all that connected. Now that I have that reconnected, door handle's connected, I can hear it. Lock's connected, I can hear it. I'm going to put the 3 screws that I originally took out back in. So the little black screw goes in here. The little shiny gold looking screws go in here and here. And then I'll proceed onwards from there. Now that I've got all the screws back in place, I'm going to take my wiring harness right here, plug it into the window switch. I'm going to put the little cover back on here and then put my little armrest right here. And just like that, the door is back together. I'm going to get working on the other door. I'm just going to make a time-lapse video out of that, like I said, because I'm fighting daylight, and it's the exact same process as this one, just on the other side. Pretty straightforward process, actually. It was a lot easier than I thought it would be. Yeah, if I'd known it would have been this easy, I would have done this 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, whenever I got this. But now it's done. I'm happy with it. It sounds good so far, so I'm hoping that I'll get some good life out of it. Hoping I don't have to replace any of the other speakers, but it seems to work well with the stock amp and everything. So should be good to go. I'll get going on the other one. And also, for anybody curious who's been keeping update with the channel, the Ram's sitting over there, still leaking coolant, as you can see. We bought some new parts for it yesterday, new radiator, new cap, all that's coming in soon, so we'll have that hopefully up and running pretty soon. I mean, it's running now, but hopefully up and fixed. But in the meantime, here's the time lapse of the other door. And just like that, the door is back together and the new speaker is down in there. You can see the red in there. On that note, this will be the end of this video. I'm just going to save all the extra hardware that I have just in case I ever need it. I doubt I will, but so far it's sounding a lot better than it did before. Thank you for watching. If you were following along as a tutorial, hope this helped. I don't know what's coming up on the channel next. Probably the RAM radiator repair, maybe Cruising Week down in Ocean City, because I'm planning on going there again, but we shall see. So thanks for watching, and stick around for more content.